Our loved ones shape our vision for the world. So when their vision is at risk due to wet AMD,
when I was realizing that, guys, but just in case anyone's new here and you don't know what I'm talking about, what's up, guys? My name is Star and I was married until recently. We're gonna get all up into that in this video. You're gonna know the tea, you're gonna know what happened, and I'm gonna do it but just in case. And it was kind of knew each other, but later it became very apparent that we didn't really know each other, hence the huge issue after we got married. I was never a person that really cared about marriage. I always thought if I meet someone and we love each other so much that we want to get married just because we are that into each other, then that's amazing. But I never had any fantasies or desires or cares to get married whatsoever. And if our situation didn't have to do with immigration, best believe we would have not been rushing to get married. There was no rush to get married on either of our ends whatsoever. It was purely logistical. And we actually ended up being separated within our legal marriage for much longer than we were actually physically together. We were together in our marriage for 3.5 years, and we weren't even together that entire time. And then we were separated for about 5 years because we got married in December of 2015. We separated in May of 2019, and our legal divorce finalized just recently, about a week ago, August 29th. Now, why in the heck were we still married for so many years, like 5 years after we separated? I'm going to get into that in a little bit, but I want to talk about a little bit about how we separated and just how I could have really averted a lot of heartache and just really tough emotions within myself if I didn't do this one thing. So the first time we kind of took a break from each other, it was like, this isn't working. Why don't you go back and spend some time in New Zealand? I'll do my own thing here and maybe we'll reconnect. That happened. He came back, we reconnected. The next time we separated, he left to Northern California to do some work, and I didn't know that we were going to be separating. I thought, oh, okay, he's just going to go do some work. This will probably be good for us to have a break because we really weren't getting along very well. And then he ends up leaving me over text message and won't talk with me or let me come see him or anything. And I was extremely distraught, completely emotionally wrecked. If people are here who saw those videos at that time, which I have since removed, you will have known what emotional turmoil again I was in over this whole separation. It was heartbreak, you know, even though I knew we weren't right for each other, I did make that decision that I'm going to accept him. And I knew that I was doing my part in the relationship to show up better and to be a better person. And it was just too late. I had already been such a toxic partner that the damage had been done. This marriage taught me the most incredible lesson ever that I'm so grateful for. And at this point, I honestly believe that that's the whole purpose of why we got married, was so that I could learn this and I could grow and I could become a better human being within myself. Because a few years into the marriage, it was just so terrible. I was an awful partner. I'm not even going to lie to you, but I eventually came to the place of making this decision. Do I want to leave this person or do I want to accept this person? Because trying to change this person and being upset with this person about who they are is not working whatsoever. And I made the decision to accept them. So whenever I was getting reactions within myself of wanting to be upset with them for not being the person that I wanted them to be, I took it as an opportunity to check that within myself, release it, and let it go. People You can't change people. You can help people on the path of wanting to become the best version of themselves, or if they want certain things for themselves, then you can help them, but you can't change them. That is never going to work. And I'm so grateful to have learned that lesson, because it is so freeing within your own self to accept people for who they are and recognize that they're not going to change. So if it's upsetting you, you've got one thing to do: change the situation for yourself. Either leave the situation or accept the person. Getting upset and making it a miserable existence is just not the business. You got to get out of that if anyone is in that at all. So thank you. Thank you for that wonderful lesson. Thank you for the marriage that caused me so much heartbreak, because I'm grateful to have it. It changed me as a human being for the better. And I'm not saying that I was the only party to blame in this situation. I'm just taking accountability and responsibility for my part in the situation. And yeah, man, I was tough. I was not a good partner. But like I said, I really did shift that within myself, and I'm so grateful for all the work that I did. But yeah, like I said, by that time it was too late. But yeah, the way that he left via text message and not letting me contact him, and I was super distraught, like completely heartbroken, had no idea how I was gonna move through this and recover. It was just like, and I was just so grateful at the time, because I had this apartment and I had a little bit of money in the bank, and I was just able to like chill and lay in bed and lick my wounds and be sad, because wow, like I really was. And during this time, I even started hanging out with, I don't know if this was months later. The timeline at this point is a little blurry because it's been like 5 years. Over 5 years at this time. And I started hanging out with an ex-boyfriend of mine. And my ex-husband found out about that. And then he decided he wanted to come back and enter my life again. And so this is a point that I'm just hoping can maybe help somebody out there. Like, if someone leaves you via text message, whether you're married, which is just crazy, but even if you're in a just boyfriend and girlfriend, like that's a red flag right there that you should probably steer clear of that person, in my opinion. And then if they don't really want anything to do with you until you start hanging out with someone else, and then all of a sudden they're interested again and want to come back, I would say that that is another red flag, that even if you're, oh, yes, they want me again, it's probably best to steer clear of it, because I don't know how many instances that actually ends up working out under those circumstances. But I wasn't smart, and I got back together with him. And so we got back together, and we ended up traveling to New Zealand together. And I left my apartment, put my stuff in storage, and we're in New Zealand. And it's in May of 2019, so about 3.5 years after we legally were married. And he wants to separate again. So I ended up having to change my ticket and come back to the United States. And it was right around my birthday. My birthday is May 14th. So right around my birthday, he's leaving me, and I'm having to change my ticket and leave New Zealand and come back early. And that's when we separated for good. And then that started the heartbreak all over again. So I didn't just have to go through it once. I had to go through it twice. And it was so difficult and painful, and just like, my God, like, am I ever going to get through this? And then maybe some of you remember that I took a trip to India, and I was still super heartbroken at that point, crying a lot, really sad. And that trip to India, helped me a lot to move on. And I did. And I came back from India after a few months being there, and I was good. And I really realized that this is a blessing in disguise. I'm super fortunate that this happened. I wasn't going to leave him. I was just going to accept him and work on myself. Then comes the logistics of the divorce and the interesting variable that it's an immigration case. And so my mind, he left me. He's the one that should be filing for divorce, right? And he did file for divorce, but it didn't go through. He filed for divorce twice, and for some reason, it didn't go through. The divorce was never finalized. Now, I don't know why. I don't know why it wasn't finalized. I don't know why twice to file for divorce and it didn't go through. But this is a big reason of why it took me so long to take matters into my own hands and finally file for divorce myself, because I was like, oh, it's going to be so difficult. It's going to be such a struggle. The divorce is going to be so hard. I don't even know if it's going to work. I'm going to have to pay this money, which is like $435 if you don't hire a lawyer to file for divorce. And I'm like, what if it doesn't go through? He tried to file twice. He had all these problems. Well, let me tell you what, filing for divorce for me was one of the easiest, smoothest processes I have ever done in my life, surprisingly. But it wasn't initially. So when I first was like, enough is enough already, like, he's not going to file. He's just not. It's not going to happen. It's been 5 years. What the heck is he waiting for? Why didn't it go through? Why didn't he try again? I'm going to do it now, okay? It's on me. And so I filed for divorce, and initially I was just trying to do it myself. I was reading about how to file all the paperwork. This is some stuff I feel like might help someone out there. I was reading some stuff about all the paperwork, filling it out. I don't have a printer, so I was going back and forth to the print shop. If I made a mistake, I'd have to go print new papers, and it was like a whole thing. And then finally I was like, all right, I'm going to go see what's going on at this self-help center. I had a question about some of my paperwork and I wanted them to look over it for me. And they were like, oh, well, if you're going to do it yourself, we don't really help. But if you want us to do it, then let's go through your case. And I was like, oh, that's an option? Well, you guys do it. Let's go through my case. And once I did that, I don't know if it's like this in every county, but here they are just so freaking helpful and absolutely incredible, because I basically gave them my case information and they filled out all the paperwork, all the packets. They printed out everything for me. They said exactly what I needed to give to the clerk. And it was just like the most helpful, wonderful, amazing thing I've ever done. I didn't have to print out any more papers myself. They did everything and just told me everything that I needed to do. Mind you, this was an uncontested divorce with no shared property whatsoever, nothing linking us whatsoever except the actual marriage. So that definitely made it easy. You know, I know for a lot of divorce cases, there's property, there's maybe kids, it can be a lot more complicated, but if it's just you and another person, for me, it was a super easy process, and I cannot believe it took me 5 freaking years to do it. It's just insane. But now we can celebrate because I'm officially divorced as of basically a week ago on August 29th. Your girl is not connected whatsoever to that marriage anymore. It is finalized. It is finished. And so I feel like this is a good lesson too, that just because someone's experience is one way, just because someone tells you their experience is one way doesn't mean that your experience will be that way, and it shouldn't necessarily deter you from doing that thing. Like if I knew this process would be that easy, I would have done it a long time ago. I was just procrastinating. I was being lazy. I was putting it off. I was like, oh, I don't want to pay the money and all that stuff. Oh, it's going to be so difficult and all that stuff, when really it turned out to be a really easy process, and it's done and we're divorced. I think some takeaways here are, don't get back with someone if they leave you through a text message and they won't see you and they don't become interested in you again until you start hanging out with someone else. If those are all the reasons, and if that's what happened, it's probably not going to be great. When we did get back together, he just wasn't trying at all in the relationship. And it was almost like he was continually trying to sabotage it because it wasn't really what he wanted, but he was there. And so it was a really toxic space to be in, you know, that doesn't feel good, especially if you're like really trying to do your best and be your best and make up for how terrible you were before, and then you get nothing. But then you feel like I'm the reason it's like this, so let me just try and keep being better. It wears on you. It wore on me. It was tough, but I wanted so badly to show him that I'm a person who does inner work on themselves. And I literally believe 100% in the power of ourselves to become better human beings if we want to, and we work on it, and we see our shortcomings and we improve them. It can happen. I know it from personal experience. So I'm really grateful for this relationship, like super grateful. And it helped me grow so much as a human being. And it probably helped my ex-husband grow a lot as a human being as well. I hope so. I truly do think that he's a good person and he means well. And you're only hearing my side of the story, and maybe it's not fair, but I'm really not sharing much. I'm sharing that I was a really crappy partner, that I grew a lot, and the ways I was left and brought back together and divorced. That's it. That's all I'm sharing. And it's my story, and it's what happened. And I think that it might be able to help some people out there. You know, if you land on this video, if you're with someone from another country, if whatever, you know what I mean? Like, come on, let's help each other out through our stories and through our history. And something else you might be wondering is, am I going to keep the name? I still have his last name, Brady. Before Brady, it was Burlin, Burlin. And I've been Brady now for 8.5 years. And part of me does want to go back to Berlin, but if I do, I'm not going to do it right now because it's just an expense and it just feels unnecessary at the moment. So I might just keep the Brady. I might eventually just change my name and become Kashi Star. Kashi's my first name, Star's my middle name, Brady's my last name. And just be Kashi my first name, Star my last name. That's a thought in my mind, but none of that is going to be happening anytime soon. So I'm still just going to be Brady. It's not a big deal. Like I said, 8.5 years now I've been Brady. So it just is kind of my name at this point. But yeah, that's it. That's my story. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I super appreciate your guys' support. I got so much support from you guys on my last video. It's been crazy, and I just feel like, wow, I really have some people that just like are rooting for me and really support me with your kind words, with your vibes, with your energy, with things that you say, and also some of you with like donating money to me, like real money. One person even donated me like a big donation in a super chat, and then found out that YouTube takes a big cut from the super chats and donated another big chunk in my PayPal. And like that just blew me away. Like, some of you guys are really, really generous, and it's really incredible. Even family members can be so conditional with their support, and then there some of you guys are just like supporting me and asking nothing in return. I guess just really feeling like my videos give you value, and so there's nothing better than that. So thanks so much for that. Anyways, thanks for watching and tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. Both of those things really help my channel out a lot. Please leave all your comments in the comment section, and I'll see you next time.
I chose a treatment that works with my lifestyle. I choose Ocrevus.
When you shop at an at-home, you'll find decor for all for you.
Welcome back to my channel. Today we are all pre-planned to meet up and hook up. I have been trying my hardest to try and believe him for this because I'm terrified I can get past it. So I don't know if I should forgive him or not. Just posting on here to get some advice. Okay. A girl around his mom before, but usually I think it's pretty normal to meet your boyfriend or girlfriend's family either right before you guys start dating or like right after you guys start dating. I think I met my boyfriend's mom like like a week after we started hanging out and being like a thing. But obviously everyone's situation is different. Some people want to make sure it's going to last and work out before introducing your family members to them. So she said about a month. That's not that weird. A month's not too weird at all. Like a month of brought up, okay, is going on with her. To him as he went back going like, yeah, I am. Who are you? Like, are you one of his friends or something? And she replies with, I am so sorry. And I just kept saying how much, and that was all anyone else there. It's obvious it's him, and I just say thank you so much, and then I rush to call him. I feel like this is very interesting and fun to read and read it together. Actually, let's take one more bite of my burrito. This bite looks really good and cheesy.